The specimen I'm about to expose you to is extraordinarily cringe, like this SCP weirdo that I'm about to unleash before your eyes. But I want you to take this as an inspirational motivator because somehow this goober was able to get into a serious relationship for the last 7 months. And if he can do it, anybody can. Alright, now let's begin our journey. This is a 26-year-old woman communicating with her 29-year-old boyfriend. Now, the previous night they had an argument, which we'll get into in a moment because it's crucial to the lore here of what unfolds. Now, this is the next day. She says, "Had some honey chicken with rice and broccoli from blank. How about you?" He responds with a Naruto gif, which is already an incredible start here, and goes, "That sounds good. I had a muffin and cheese lol, by the way. The call yesterday really sucked, but the New Year's Eve call was very nice." She says, "I know lol." And then for some reason he decides to pour salt in the wound. He just digs the knife a little deeper, letting her know that it was probably the worst call he's had, lol. To which she responds, "Alrighty. Well, that makes me feel great. I'm heading to bed. Love you, good night." For some reason he thought it was a good idea just to remind her how much he disliked talking to her last night about what they were discussing. Oh man, that call last night, that was the pits. Jesus Christ, am I right, you harpy? Last night's call was horrible. The New Year's Eve call was a little bit better, but goodness gracious, heavens to Betsy, the call before that, atrocious. And then he'll probably drop another Naruto gif. This time it's like an Itachi one casting a genjutsu. Don't ever do it again. But anyway, the argument they had on the call before these text messages was about her mentioning that she might want to try shrooms at some point. It was basically talking about drugs and how she's not interested in drugs, but the only one she has even an iota of interest in trying is shrooms like one time. And he took a very hard stance against that. It was like he was a DEA agent here. I'll drop the information right here if you want to pause and read it, but the gist of it is, she mentioned that shrooms at least sounded somewhat interesting to try at some point, though she was never really being serious about it, and if she ever did want to try it, she said that she would talk to him about it first before doing anything. It wasn't going anywhere, and eventually she just said, "You're right, I'm wrong, sorry," and tried to move on from the whole conversation. But it looks like that was never in the cards. It's weighed heavy on the mind of her boyfriend, who brings it up out of the blue again, just to remind her how awful the conversation was. In the follow-up message, he decides to just go whole hog and let it all hang out here to just reignite this argument. He says, "Yes, I say wrong stuff to you sometimes. I know I make mistakes, but not this time. I stand by what I said yesterday, and this time you were in the wrong. But I'm heading to bed. I love you. Good night." And she reminds him, like, "Hey, we fully discussed this last night. There was no reason to bring it up again except to attempt to make me feel bad. Just because you're in a bad mood doesn't mean you should try to bring me down with you." She's 100% right. They had already discussed it. There is no reason to keep doing this again, this song and dance. Just let it be. But he just can't do that. "I know, but this is serious shit." And then he censors the word shit. He puts stars on his swear word, like he's a 12-year-old in Twitch chat that has the language filter on. This is a 29-year-old man who is censoring the word shit. And we've only just begun with the exceptionally wacky stylings of this 29-year-old goober. If you use any substitute, I am done with you. And I'm sorry I say this because I care about you too much, and you're much worth more. And you're much worth more. I don't, that's all over the place. I think he was just so angry. I mean, he dropped the word shit. You could tell his temper was flaring up. He used a naughty word, so I think he was just scrambling to say words in a panic. And then she just goes, "I'm not talking about this." It's fine if you don't have the mouth of a sailor, but why censor it? Just don't even use the word. You could have said poop. This is some serious poop, m'lady. You're talking about drugs. Unacceptable. Why even bother censoring yourself? Oh, it's so cringe. And we've only just begun. She says there's no reason to go over this again. We talked about it. It's over. Drop it. Really just trying her best to move on from this because it's only going to get worse. But he's already too deep. He's already made his bed and it's time to piss his pants in it. "Okay, but promised me you won't do it and I will drop the whole thing." She again reminds him, "I already told you I wouldn't do anything without talking to you first. Leave it alone. I'm done with this conversation." But it's just not registering in his mind. His neurons are just firing and he's going into flight or fight mode and he's fighting his own demons here. Don't get angry at me just because you had a drug problem in past. That's not my problem. That's your problem. Which is a crazy thing to say to your significant other. Jesus. And she goes, bro, you're being dense right now. Just shut up and leave it alone. This isn't a conversation to be had over text, and we already talked about it on the phone. Just drop it, dude. Now, if you pause to read the explanation for the context around these messages, you'll know that the drug problem he's referring to is her smoking weed when she was 19, and the one time she tried cocaine. That's the drug problem to this guy. He speaks as if he's like a 14-year-old boy who just had a class on Dare, and now he is scared. He can't sleep anymore. He has to go to bed with one eye open and Narcan on the dresser next to him, just in case a burglar comes in and tries to force him to OD on drugs. Like drugs are out to get him and everyone he cares about. And he just keeps spiraling. You have to change that blank. He's literally beeping himself with a sensor. You have to change that beep, stupid attitude. And I'm not your beep, bro. And I'm not your beep, dude. Maybe that's why wow, that's hard to read. The grammatical catastrophe that he's unleashed upon my eyes is really with my brain. I'm not your beep, dude. Maybe that's what you're call your beep friends. I don't give a beep. I'm not your beep friend. I'm not your beep. X's beep. Remember that. Like, what in the world is happening? This is the most childish text message I've ever seen in my life. It's like a kid melting down on League of Legends. This is a 29-year-old man. And he's speaking like this. He's a boy. He's a baby boy. Why is he censoring his texts like this? Oh, it's so awful. It's so bad. I can't even parse what he's trying to say with his last statement there at the end. I'm not your friend, which is, again, a wild thing to say to your significant other. You're supposed to be their best friend, basically. That's the whole point of being in the relationship, but whatever. But this is where it gets extraordinarily confusing. And I'm not your ex's blank. Remember that. Your ex's what? Your ex's... Remember that? Is that what he's saying? I don't know. What does that mean? And she says, I don't know what your problem is, but directing at me is not going to help. I'm not talking about this. I'm done responding for the night. Have a good one. And he just goes, we done. If you keep going. So full-blown caveman mode now. I will drop it now. Anyway, how's your day? From all of this into like immediately de-aggroing like an NPC in a video game. And he's like, oh, so how's your day? Did you have a good day today? I bet you did. I bet it's better now that you're talking to me, right? And then her response is, it was better before you started this. And then that once again sends him off. Well, that's your problem. I just don't want to crackhead girlfriend, and please don't call me bro. I'm not your stupid friends. What the crackhead girlfriend? What are you talking about? She mentioned that the only drug she'd be interested in trying is shrooms, and she wouldn't even actually do it because she doesn't have a real interest. That's just the only one that even sounded somewhat appealing. He's lost his marbles. He's off his gourd for this. And eventually she's like, just go to bed. You need a nap. You're not you when you're tired. And then he hits her with like a threat. It'll be really funny when you're 6 feet under. And she goes, oh boy, here we go again. And he says, anyway, enough of this. Now, I think he's referring to, if you try drugs, you're dead instantly. You'll instantly die if a drug touches your body. It'll put you 6 feet under instantaneously. Like, I don't know if he's actually threatening that he'll put her 6 feet under, but that is kind of how it reads. But I think what he's trying to say is that the drugs are going to kill her, and he's the only one that can save her from going down this destructive path. Now, obviously, and here's a hot take, drugs aren't good for you. But what he's doing here is an outrageous overreaction, and the way he's treating his girlfriend is unacceptable. He's just yelling and screaming at her like it's an episode of Scared Straight, all over her going over a hypothetical of if she was to ever try a drug, she'd want it to be shrooms because that's the only one that sounds even somewhat interesting, but she doesn't even want to do it. She's not saying she's going to go do shrooms or anything like that. She's not going down this path to being a crackhead like he thinks she is. This is just ridiculous the way he's treating her over this. And don't even get me started on his potty mouth, all those nasty words he's been using here. But luckily for all of us, he's tastefully censored all of them for us. Clearly don't respect me. You think I'm a joke when I'm saying the truth. I wish just once you just listen to me. I think you're a joke, buddy. I'll say it. She won't, but I will. I think you are cringe incarnate. She says, I'm listening. I'm just tired of you repeating it over and over when this whole thing was finished last night. Of course, I don't want to hear it again. I dropped it. You should too. Leave it alone. And then he tries to play the saint again, like he's just looking out for her and it's all for her benefit. He's the angel. You know I say this because you are very important to me. Maybe no one tells you this, but I'm the first to tell you. And I always stick with my words. That's what I have to say. And I'm sorry if you hurt, but I had to say it. What a hero. There's better ways of saying it. And apparently you'd already had this conversation the night before. And everything was settled then, but you just keep going. And she said, you didn't have to say it, lol, but okay, whatever makes you feel good. And now the demon comes back out again. Do that. Beep attitude. I'm telling you, if you keep doing this, I'm trying to be understanding, but you give me beep disrespect. Answer. I'm done with you. Off. This mumbo jumbo nonsense. Like, it's the episode of SpongeBob with the sailor words, basically, and he's censoring it in the text. It's so awful. And she goes, just remember, you brought this up, you started, I told you I wasn't talking about it anymore, but you're pushing it, I don't know what else to tell you. She is trying so hard just to move on from this, like, just give it up, just stop. Why does he keep going? Just stop. And then he drops another extremely mean, nasty insult, saying, no wonder your friend left you and your exes left you. What a huge piece of shit, just a horrible thing to say to anyone, let alone the person you are dating. And then she just goes, ouch, yeah, you. And then he comes back with another confusing head scratcher. I was ready to drop it, but you keep give me bitch, just stop now. What am I reading? What is that sentence? Oh man, oh brother, this guy stinks. And then he's like, ooh, that wasn't nice and I'm sorry. So he has an immediate change of heart within 2 minutes. And then he's like, he goes full apology mode here to try and save this, even though it's unsalvageable. This is where the relationship should end 100%. He goes, I'm sorry for being an beep. I should have never said that. That was my fault. I really apologize. And thankfully she shoots that garbage down. I really don't want to hear it from you. Good night. And then he tries again to go really sweet talking, like, oh no, it's all a misunderstanding. Baby, I'm really sorry. That part I said, I didn't mean it. I'm really sorry. Anyway, baby, I'm so sorry. I should have thought more about your feelings, and at that time I wasn't thinking, in that part I said was really not nice, but I love you. So he signs off with yet another completely incomprehensible, dumb, stupid text. But at least there was no censoring in the last part. He didn't use any foul language that needed to be, censored, because he's a classy guy. He wouldn't want any of those yucky words being uncensored in these texts. But yeah, as far as I can tell, she is planning on leaving him, according to the comments, I think. She said she's not going to give him another chance to show this side of him, which is good, because this relationship shouldn't continue past this point. That right there is the kibosh on it with the things he said about this. She didn't do anything wrong. She was just talking about a hypothetical. If she was to try a drug again, it would be shrooms because it's the only one that seems even somewhat interesting. But she even said multiple times she didn't want to, and she wasn't planning on it anytime at all, really. And this guy just had this crazy overreaction to it. So yeah, huge weirdo, big cringe guy. That's about it. So yeah. It's been a little while since I dropped some hot, steaming, creepy text messages on all of you, and I think we were long overdue for some more. So Coach called me off the bench and I'm about to provide. But something a little different here. The text messages I'm going to show aren't like the standard weirdo, unhinged, lunatic type behavior. But I think it's something that a lot of people might be able to learn from. So to give a little background, the poster here, she mentioned that she had gone on one date with this guy and knew him for like 2 months, and the date didn't go super well. And then we fast forward to this interaction that we're about to cover, and the reason why I think this is a teachable moment is because I feel like this is something maybe a lot of people do without realizing it's not a good idea, and there's actually hints of old Charles in these text messages here, deep in the flavor profile of these embarrassing texts we're about to go over. I see myself staring me in the mirror when I was but a wee lad, a young man. The very first time I got a girl's number that I was interested in, I was giddy. It felt like I had just won the Super Bowl, and I couldn't stop texting her, even when I wasn't getting responses, which is a big no-no. That is a huge, unforgivable sin. You don't do that because it's annoying. And sometimes if I didn't receive a response after my fourth text in a row within a 20-minute period, I'd just be like, oh man, shucks, She hates me. Zoinks. I blew it. And then I'd still send like another 3 texts. And I know I mentioned this before at one point, but sometimes I'd get so like desperate and like begging for a response that I'd send her little ASCII art of stick figures. It's so bad. Actually, I was worse than the guy in the messages we're about to cover. But his is floating around, and I really think it's important that people realize that that's just not how you should communicate with anyone. Not even just someone that you're interested in, just anybody in general. No one likes to just be pestered. So let's begin. I am believing right now you might be my kryptonite. Need to hang out more, but I'm pretty sure you're my kryptonite. I'm good with anyone, and they will probably be my best friend once they are done. Just what I'm used to. I don't really know what that means, if I'm being honest. What do you mean, she's your kryptonite? It's supposed to be cute and romantic, but I don't really get it. That's kind of like an insult to her. Like, look, you're bad for me. You literally poison me. You make me sick, is basically what that's saying. It's not really that romantic, but I think he's trying to mean it in like a sweet way. But anyway, she says, sorry I can't talk right now, I just got my son from school, give me a second. Which is totally reasonable. She's giving a response letting him know that she can't really properly respond to whatever conversation's trying to be started from this cold open. And he goes, okay, sounds good, enjoy your time with them please. Cody is about to get home, and then we're gonna go play some skee board, and I'm drinking, and then sends a picture of the beverage. He must have been butt-chugging that Miller Lite there, because then things really fly off the rails. Feels kind of weird being in Wichita Falls. I love it though. Let's have a good time. Can I call you? I miss you already. Sorry to call, just wanted to talk to you. I'm guessing he tried dialing her there and didn't get a response. I don't want to be one of those guys that just be passionate about anything, but in the instance I was passing about you, there's a couple things in society that you go through. I don't know what type of Confucius wisdom he was trying to drop there. There's a whole lot of words in that vomit, and none of it translates to anything in that sentence. I don't know what was even said there. That is a real head-scratcher. Where's life and just live, but nothing truly measures to you meeting up and having a good conversation. I like you. I like you a lot. My friends coming from all destinations have a party tonight. I hope you're there. I hope you have school, please deem that necessary. Please deem your boy necessary. I love our conversation, but I'm probably the best dude you ever know. Big red flag. Anyone that identifies as a nice guy or the best guy you ever know, hey, probably not going to be the best guy you ever know. Yeah, I'm not gonna beat around the bush here. If you're tooting your own horn, that horn's gonna be stinky most of the time here. But me saying that, I don't know. But you are a princess to me. Sorry to text you so much as I'm not a texter. Do you need to call me? I'm there. I'm leaving Cheddar's now, about to hang out with one of my friends. He's meeting me here. Heart. And she finally responds saying, I'm sorry, I have class in a minute, I'm trying to rush through everything quick as can be. Again, totally understandable, she has already said that she is busy. So it's probably not a good idea to just flood her phone with all this spaghetti that's fallen out here. So let's break this down. He's clearly very excited. And there's nothing wrong with being excited. Being excited's great, but maybe dial it back when you're not getting responses. He talks about loving their conversation. Brother, there's no conversation except for the one you're having with a ghost right now. There's nothing happening in these messages. You are speaking to yourself. To me, it seems like he started panicking when he wasn't getting a response in a time period he felt was acceptable, so then just kept sending more and more text messages on top of it, just bombarding her. And then he sent another picture of, I believe, them out and about. Another thing is, I don't think just sending a bunch of pictures is a good idea either when you're not getting responses. That makes it seem very desperate. Just let this sit for a bit. Just let it ruminate. Let her marinate on this and get back to you when she's not busy. You don't need to keep sending these text messages, which is a lesson that I and many others have learned. You don't want to just keep texting endlessly if you're not getting responses. There's this unspoken rule, I suppose, about, double texting or the forbidden jutsu of a triple text. Of course, it's mainly a meme, but there is some real logic behind it. If you're texting with someone and they're not really responding, it's not really a good idea to just keep pressing that. Either they're not interested, which is fine, it happens, or they're busy. And in either one of these cases, sending more text messages is only going to serve to make things much more uncomfortable and worse all around. Girl, be you, that's all that I want, but I do want to see you. And then sends this creep shot of just two women at the bar they're at, two older women. And then he goes, so Cody and I are about to take these ladies home, laughing emojis. I swear to God, two old ladies about to take us home. I want to see you. You in class? This is just really weird. Like, this is bizarre. Where is this coming from? Why are you taking a photo of just two random ladies claiming they're trying to take you home or something? Shit's getting a little loopy here, and it's still not hitting. She's still not responding because, again, she has already explained she has class. She is busy here. Now, the way he's texting makes me feel like he's drunk at the very least, because it's almost incoherent, like babbling, saying nothing. It's so many messages to say nothing. Like, what do you mean? I hope you deem your boy necessary or whatever. Like, what is going on? Like, this is... You shouldn't be texting right now. What you need is some Pedialyte and just rest and recuperate. So she finally responds again saying, I'm in class, I'm sorry. I don't know what the prize that needs to be paid. Just really love the time we had. Might be getting soft. And she's as confused as I am. What do you mean, lol? Me sure who I am is the price I mean. I appreciate the explanation, Yoda. Again, what? Huh? Another picture of some beverages here. We're about to move. Dude thinks he is prettier than me. What the? I told me I can pull more chick than you, bro. Had me cracking up. Just move to the side and have fun, bro, is what I told him. And then sends a picture of a song that he's listening to. I don't know what's happening in the lore right now. He's treating these text messages with this girl like it's his diary. Or like he's live blogging his life right now in real time, live tweeting in these texts. It's baffling. I also think he's making it up. Like, I don't understand what this is supposed to be. You won't believe this. Guy said he could pull more chick than me? Ha! I couldn't stop laughing. It reminds me of that really shitty advice that people used to preach about, convince a woman that you're desirable by making it seem like other women are vying for your attention and time. Like, fake a phone call or something. Pardon me, madam, I'm getting a phone call. Yes, Stacy. No, the pussy appointment was canceled. We can have sex another night. I'm busy. It's boys' night. I'll call you back. Alright, goodbye. Sorry, it's this girl, she always wants to me. But anyway, what was your name again? Like one of those things where it's like, oh wow, this guy's got so many girls are interested in this guy. I mean, maybe I should be interested too, was the line of thought. That's what those text messages scream to me, that he's just making that whole situation up right there. Because what random dude's gonna come up saying that he's prettier than him and that he can pull more chicks than him? Just a total stranger. That's not like a human interaction that would ever happen. Some dudes smell like ass. Laughing emojis. My goodness. Why are you telling her this? Like, what is the response even supposed to be? And then he just sends like another random photo of someone playing pool. Presumably him playing pool, I guess. I don't know. He just keeps sending all these photos of beer, two old ladies, him, beer, pool. Why? It's not a picture book. It's supposed to be text messages, like a conversation, but there's no conversation. Stop texting. And he just says, haha. And she responds again, finally, after a bit of a drought, saying, that's nice. I mean, yeah, that sums it up. Like, what are you supposed to say to this? Just, oh, cool. Oh, interesting. Nice. And then he goes, not without you. We are at Deep Eddies. My goodness, lol. You are going to be able to come out? We will come pick you up. Am I going to be able to see you before the night over with? Like, he's going full caveman mode with a lot of these statements here. I think he has drank a lot over the course of the evening. And still, after all of these messages, nothing of value was said. It's just been weird. you've sent 30 messages to almost no response ever. So let the lesson be learned here to not just keep texting into the void. If you're not getting responses, don't force it. It's a bad idea to just keep sending text after text after text. This fool. And then she finally responds and she just gets right down to business. I don't want to be rude, but you knew I had class. I made it clear. I've been here an hour and a half and you have texted me 33 times compared to my 5 times. This was all... I bet a lot of you watching this thought that these text messages had come over the course of like a day or something. An hour and a half. Jiminy Christmas. I'm sorry, I do not want to pursue this any further. You don't understand boundaries or when someone isn't answering. Be safe. Have a good night. I think that is a very understandable, reasonable, and respectful way of just getting this across here. He clearly did not respect boundaries or respect that she was busy, so I think this makes complete sense. And he says, I won't text you anymore, nor will I ever message you again. Have a good life. My apologies did not mean any disrespect. I hope you climb mountains. I truly like you. Glad you disrespected me now so I know. I get it. Wow. And then that emoji, I don't really know what that emoji's supposed to convey here for the emotion. Told me that you would keep me updated. We have a good life. And then some more hand emojis. I mean, it could have been worse, I suppose. Yeah, anyway, just wanted to share this. Hopefully you learned something from it. That's about it. See ya. If you've got a full belly, prepare yourself because you might just puke upon seeing and listening to this unbelievable, embarrassing cringe. This is the worst flirting, the worst attempt at wooing a potential romantic interest I have ever seen. This is like playing a visual novel and then scaring away all of your potential love interests at once and getting the worst ending. Now, I'd like to give a bit of context here to the situation before we really dive into the meatballs from our spaghetti entree of cringe. A user on Twitter posted screenshots as well as videos from a random guy who had reached out to her on Facebook because he had seen her on a dating app. The two didn't even match, and I guess he must have assumed that it was some kind of glitch because they were destined to be lovers. It was fate that was pulling them together, but unfortunately technology had a malfunction, so he took matters into his own hands, tracked her down on Facebook, of which she had no connection to the dating app. She didn't connect any of her socials to the dating app, so he did some super sleuthing to find her on Facebook and reach out to her there to try and win her heart. And let's see how that went. Kelsey! I love that intro right there. It's straight out of Scary Movie, like that old commercial. What's up? He's coming at her like they're best friends from way back in the day. He then executes Order 66 and kills all potential for romance. He goes, I mean, okay, shit. Mayhaps that was a tad overly enthusiastic for a stranger danger message on a sunny Friday morning. There is so much quirk to the way that he texts that I'm getting uncomfortable. I can say with a high level of confidence that he is definitely in some kind of theater troupe because he is typing like he's acting out some kind of skit for a play. It's a little much here. My bad. Let's go with, I can explain. Yeah, that works. Then drops a couple of emojis and then one of these bad boys. How she didn't immediately fall in love with this man is beyond me. This is aggressive. And it's already creepy because it's a complete stranger who saw her on a dating app and then tracked her down in order to, really directly communicate with her. So, let's go over where things went wrong here. I'll go ahead and get the playbook out like John Madden and say where everything fell apart for the offense. From the start, basically. There is nothing that's even remotely salvageable from what he tried to do here. There is nothing more annoying than texting like you're talking to yourself during the texts. Like when you say something like, Kelsey, mayhaps that was a tad too far on a stranger danger sunny Friday afternoon. Goodness gracious, how do I save this? Like that is so lame. That is shameful. That is just downright shameful. I am shocked he didn't drop like an asterisk nuzzles you, and then an asterisk, you there? Yeah, and then one of those emojis. So she said, sorry, do I know you? And then it reactivates this cringe protocol. He says, oh hey, no, we don't know each other. Sincere apologies for this subterfuge. Oh brother, this guy stinks. Dropping subterfuge here in your creepy approach to a stranger. If you give me the tiniest bit of room, I'd be happy to explain. I reckon that said explanation will bring laughs and smiles. P.S. Not trying to rope you into a pyramid scheme to sell fancy Tupperware. Yet. He's trying very hard to be self-aware, and when he starts sending his voice memos to her, he reiterates 1,000 times like, this is weird, you're probably gonna think I'm weird, and then just keeps doing it. He sends so many voice messages that go for a long, long time. It's making my voice crack because of how embarrassing it is. And you want to know the wildest part? I'm getting ahead of myself, and it's a spoiler. He has done this to multiple women, apparently. Other women have come forward after this tweet and all of this, the receipts here and all that went viral, with other women showing their interactions with him, and he even uses, like, the exact same lines on other women, which is really odd considering that has to be a 0% success rate. These can't be working well at all. It's so weird. So she decides to play ball here and open Pandora's box to see what comes out. She says, explain away. And he gives a brief, cool guy thing. Oh God, I just spent 60 minutes singing to seniors and man am I drained. But I can do this. He's hyping himself up in the text messages he is sending to this girl. It is so embarrassing, and he keeps doing it. But it gets worse because right after that, he sends a voice message.
Hey, Kelsey, how's it going? Don't mind me. I hate texting. I think we're all better without it, so I usually use one of these when I can. Also, I don't know if you've ever seen that Key and Peele skit, but that's how I feel about texting. I could go on. Anyway, I just want you to know right off the bat, I fully accept how weird this is. I'm sorry, but like I said, I think if you give me a second, you'll probably end up laughing. And not that you need my permission, but feel free to just laugh directly at me for being an idiot, for I am surely about to embarrass myself right now.
I do appreciate your stamp of approval. I and everyone else will be laughing directly at you for this, and I appreciate that you recognize what an unbelievably weird thing it is to do. I don't know why you keep doing it. This is the first of many voice messages he sends, even after recognizing this immutable fact that it is weird and embarrassing.
And sorry for the delay. I was going to get back to you, but someone called about a gig tomorrow and I'm trying to help them find a musician. Also, I'm not sure if I'm funny anymore. I just spent 60 minutes, like I said, playing guitar and singing to a room full of senior citizens, but the room was stuffy and hot. I had to do it with a surgical mask on, and I'm not sure if I have any funny or social energy left, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try and fake it right now. So thank you for your understanding and patience, and here goes nothing. I'm an idiot. Enjoy.
He's actually treating this like it's some kind of movie audition. What are you talking about? I also I love that he immediately makes himself seem like super busy, like, hey, sorry for the delay. I know you were waiting on bated breath for my explanation, but I had to help very big musicians find a gig. You may have heard of them before. Bring Me the Horizon. I'm the lead singer. So I had a lot going on. I was double booked, so I had to give them a different band. You may have heard of them, Metallica. But anyway, let me go ahead and explain what's going on. I just finished one of my own gigs, in fact, so I'm a little drained, but don't be perturbed because I'm going to do my best to fake it. So stay tuned for part 2. It's coming right up. He's about to go through his stand-up comedy routine, which, you don't want to miss.
In the trenches of online dating for a couple of years, so I definitely know how to identify the kind of person I'm like, if nothing else, the world would be better if we were friends. So hear me out. First of all, I never see that shrug emoji. No one else uses it. It's typed into my phone. If I type shrug with 2 G's, it just shows up. Same thing on my laptop. Like, I'll use it in work emails. So right away, I'm like, interesting. I don't get it, though. She's cute. For how pretty she is, she should be boring. Why does she seem kind of strange in a good way?
That's a spectacular start right there. I was like, she's kind of pretty, so why isn't she like a lobotomite, boring dumbass? Like, she used an emoji that I really like, and she's pretty. Like, that doesn't make any sense. Pretty women can't have a personality, but you're like defying all of science right now. He just keeps going on about this shrug emoji. He's talking about her bio on the dating site, and he just really fixates on that. That shrug emoji is like Cupid's arrow to this guy. He fell in love instantly when he saw it in her bio. I don't know why he thought it was a compliment to say that she's like strange and different in a good way because pretty women are like boring or whatever, insinuates that a pretty girl can't have a personality. I don't know what the thought process was with that approach, but it's definitely a bold play.
I think you said something about live music. My job is actually live music. I play guitar and sing. I do about 25 shows a month. I know it sounds made up. I feel like I invented the job. It's redonkulous, but I live very comfortably. Life is good. I do play at a lot of retirement homes, and it's great for my self-esteem, Kels, as I am a big hit with women over 80.
Time out. Technical foul here. He just dropped a redonkulous. He just said redonkulous. And then not only that, in his only second voice message here, he's already just calling her Kels. They're not even on like a first name basis. They're not acquaintances. These are two complete strangers, and he's already giving her like a nickname. What the?
Oh yeah, and just the night before, I'd been talking to one of my best friends in the world, Roxy. Just people that like match you and they just write hey. So if someone writes hey, I just write hi. And if someone writes sup, I go nothing much, you. And like people that match me and clearly haven't read my bio, folks will match and be like, so what do you do for a living? I'm like, come on, Chelsea. Like, yeah, you're kind of cute, but I'm pretty damn sweet. Try harder.
Why are you even talking about this? You're like trauma dumping on this complete stranger right now that you've tracked down from a dating app to try and communicate directly with because you didn't match with her. What the is this? Now you're just going on about like, dating apps are so weird. People just say like, hey. So then I'm like, hi. You don't know how to have a conversation. You didn't read the bio that I painstakingly typed up. I spent a long time on that bio and now I'm offended. Ridiculous. Redonkulous.
I don't know. It's just to see someone mention that in a bio, I'm like, thank you. I can see that you feel the same as me. Yeah, if people, I always think that effort should match interest in dating. So if you're curious if someone's interested or not, remember that scene with Justin Long and what's her face in that movie about dating? Is it he's just not that into you? And he's like, if the guy's interested, he will call. And it's true. So I found a line a couple of years ago and it's like, effort will always match interest. It will show you how interested someone is. And like, I'm pretty goddamn sweet. And I am not that lonely, bored, or horny. I'm not going to take breadcrumbs from someone if I want a sandwich. So if someone hits me with a hey or hi, you can go for yourself.
He's just sounding like a complete unhinged asshole here. It's not that deep. What do you mean they can just go for themselves? No one's even, like, what does this have to do with anything in this situation? This isn't even flirting. This is just blurting. He's just blurting out all of the most nonsensical shit in his head right now to a complete stranger. And not only that, this is probably not even his first take. I bet he recorded this like 10 times until he had one that was like, this is the one. This was smooth. And that's what we got here. We got the final product. This isn't even like the first draft, I doubt. That's mind-blowing.
I'm worth more. Damn it. This is where the Kelly Clarkson song comes in. Yeah, no, your bio is just, there was so much intentional effort put in. And honestly, the more I scroll down in the pics, I'm like, this does not match up. I don't want to sound like an asshole. Like, attractive people can also be interesting and funny, but it's just incredibly rare. I speak for myself because I'd like to consider myself one of those.
That's the end of chapter 2 from the voice memos, but don't worry, there's still a finale, and it's the extended director's cut. The next one's over 5 minutes long. Also, he doubles down on this whole, like, yeah, you're, like, pretty, but you have a personality, which that just does not happen. I don't know why he thinks that that's some kind of, like, grand compliment. It's very odd. Now, before playing the 5-minute, 30-second monologue here, he must have seen that she listened to it. He's like, gotcha! Yeah, I gotcha! Red-handed, you listen to it. Curiosity got the better of you. And then she says, dude, so you saw me on Bumble and found me on Facebook? How? Clearly very creeped out by it, understandably. And then he goes, oh, I honestly just typed in Kelsey and I guess I got lucky. I figured because you put live music we might have some friends in common or something. I blame Zuckerberg, and then laughing emoji. Which contradicts everything that he's said here because he's constantly talking and referencing her bio, which I think is referring to her dating profile bio, especially because he does mention like online dating with hays and highs and shit. So I don't even know why he thought that would somehow save the situation. Like, she'd be fooled by it.
For the love of... I was like 2 minutes into one, and it was awesome and funny, and I was so proud of it. And then someone called me again about a gig this evening, and it's like, you know that thing where your friends know you're busy or you're on a date or something, and then that's when they decide to call? Jesus Christ.
Excellent. Chef's kiss. This is how you start a romantic message. Ah, for the love of... I was in the middle of something spectacular. You were gonna love it, Kels. You were gonna love it. Trust me. But then one of my asshole friends called me about a gig because I'm so busy being a successful live musician. Can you believe that, Kels? Can you believe that? It's like those things, you know, where like we both go on dates, right? I go on dates. Clearly, you go on dates, and sometimes when you're just busy, people call. It's Jesus Christ.
But yeah, no, your bio was just the bee's knees. I mean, listen, top 3 in like the hundreds or thousands I've seen. It was just, I don't know. I'm a very good judge of character, and you just seem like my kind of person. And I'm not saying we're star-crossed lovers. I don't know you, and you don't know me.
That's 100% correct. You don't know each other. So why are you doing this? This is not how you get to know someone. This is concerning. Also, you should never admit to seeing hundreds or thousands of dating profile bios. That makes you sound very desperate, that you spend all of your time on these dating apps, perusing it, cruising around, and if you don't match with someone you found attractive or interesting based on their bio, you go out of your way to find them elsewhere to try and talk to them, which is very scary behavior.
I fully accept how strange and unconventional this is. I got a vibe, and I figured I got to go with it. I was like in a really good mood that day. I don't know. I'm totally winging it. But yeah, a lot of my close friends are women, and everyone, unfortunately, has a couple stories of having to block someone's number, or an ex just won't leave them alone, or going to the cops. Dude, I've had to block a few numbers of crazy people that didn't know they were crazy. So I really, really apologize sincerely if this in any way like triggered that, or it was weird or whatever. Kelsey, that's the furthest thing from my intention. I just wanted to say howdy, and I figured if I talk like an idiot, you'd probably feel like I did after I looked at your bio.
It's so close. He's teetering on the edge of self-awareness. Him saying all of this out loud should have led to this eureka moment where he was overcome with immense shame, and he just presses the eject button and deletes the voice memo and doesn't continue this conversation. Like, he's clearly pointing out just how weird all of this is. He's even going into all of his friends are women who, you know, have stories about having to block crazy people who didn't know they were crazy. Like, case in point, what you're doing here, but you keep trying to, like, make it seem like it's not weird, even though you do keep acknowledging how weird it is. So, like, you're fighting, like, a battle against yourself in your own messages. You are calling yourself out in front of the person that you're talking to as well. It's really weird.
Oh, okay. It's not fair. You've seen mine, or sorry, I've seen yours and you have not seen mine. If you want, I will screenshot my Bumble bio. I'm quite proud of it. I think it's pretty good. It represents me well. And what else would I want to know if I was you? Gee, I'm like 6 feet tall, pretty damn handsome. I'd give me like a 7. No, like a 7.5 out of 10 looks wise. I mean, to my knowledge, no one has dated me for my abs or my hair. I'm guessing it's because I'm funny and honest and clearly very humble and go to therapy and emotionally intelligent.
It's not a job interview, bro. You don't need to be giving your resume here. Brother, just stop. Please. Goodness gracious.
7.5, maybe even an 8. I'm feeling really good lately. I got a tan. I'm up to like 80-second side planks. I hate them, but they're totally worth it for the core. And big feet. So you know what that means, baby doll. Big socks.
You're scaring me. You are scaring me. Why would you do that? What? From way downtown here, he's throwing up a crazy jump shot. He immediately goes into, I've got big feet. You know what that means, baby girl. Oh my lord, please. Have mercy. Have mercy. Why? Why?
What else? I feel like I didn't tell you enough about the bio too. That shrug emoji was just, if nothing else, the fact that like you look like a Disney princess and you use that, I'm like, I gotta talk to her. So, I was definitely getting strong Kirsten Bell vibes too, and she's awesome. I don't know if you listen to her husband's podcast, Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard. It's quite the reference, but I have a feeling you might know what that is. One of my favorite episodes, actually, is it Lauren Graham that plays Lorelai? She was on there. Anyway, I am all over the place, as is my job.
You're also all over the place in this one-sided conversation. Now you're shouting out podcasts, talking about Shrug emoji again. It's hurting me listening to this. Let this be a lesson to everyone out there watching this. Just don't do anything even remotely like this. Never engage in a one-sided conversation where you have to be the one filling in blanks in a conversation that doesn't really exist.
But I'm sitting here, a middle-aged guy in his car with the AC on and a SpongeBob shirt, and I would call this like the technological version of, when like Noah stops Allie in The Notebook and he's like, I had to talk to you when I see something I want. Yes, I just made a Notebook reference. I don't know. I'm being a total idiot right now. So if nothing else, I figured you'd have a laugh and a smile and you could make fun of me to your friends. I don't know. Now you have a solo podcast for a guy that makes like $6,000 a month on a microphone being an idiot.
He was right. This is something that everyone can laugh about and have a big smile on their face making fun of this whole situation. And then out of nowhere, he drops like his salary from his job, like to flex. He just like slides that in there, which, I mean, it's an interesting strategy yet again. This guy's got a wild book of tricks.
I'm sorry, I don't normally bring up money, but I feel like I created my job out of thin air, and like I just submitted my 2022 taxes, and shit's been getting so much better the last few years, so I'm quite proud of it. That wasn't me trying to impress you, though, with money. I've got way more impressive shit than that. It just slipped out. I hope we can still be friends. Anyway,
Why leave it in there, then? You saying that clearly made you uncomfortable. You could have just deleted this and just tried again. Though I don't think you should have tried again regardless. This shouldn't have happened to begin with. But you yourself just made yourself puke in your mouth when you said your $6,000 a month out loud like that as like a flex, and you still let it ride. You still let this Beyblade rip. Why?
You look like a goddamn Disney princess. The bio completely floored me. I felt like it was written by a friend or something. I just got like strong, like fellow nerd, divergent, super cool, gregarious, happy person vibes. And yeah, so listen, I'm an open book. You probably figured that out like 6 overshares ago. If you have any questions for me, please hit me. Don't be shy. If you want, I'll share my bio. I feel like it's unfair that, I've seen yours and you haven't seen mine. I'm quite proud of my bio.
This entire situation has been nothing but overshares from you. She's not going to ask you any questions. No sane person would. It's not going to happen. This whole thing was a complete catastrophe. And once again, hung up on this bio thing. They're just bios. Most people write them in 10 seconds. I don't know how long he spent like finally crafting his, but that is not the norm. I'm sure she didn't spend days coming up with her bio on here. I don't know how it resonated so strongly with this guy, but I bet after this whole song and dance, the woman here immediately just deleted her whole account, or at the very least removed the bio entirely.
Yeah, for the 80th time, I apologize if this was weird or like gave you any bad vibes. That's not my intention. Yeah, I gotta drive home now because I gotta go sing at a bar in Mississauga, and I have 4 more gigs this weekend, and it hurts to talk. So I'm sitting here in my car like a jackass, and yeah, I hope that all made some kind of sense. And if nothing else, please take the sincere compliment. I've seen hundreds of shitty bios, probably thousands, and yours was easily top 3. The only reason I'm not giving you number 1 is because then it would seem like I'm lying. But I'm a very genuine, honest person, and yeah. Actually, on my way home, I'm going to go to the park and feed the ducks. My favorite swan couple, Mr. Plump and Mrs. Plumfett, they just had babies a couple weeks ago. So, like, I'll run up and they recognize me and the babies are squeaking. The hierarchy of, like, waterfowl cute babies, it goes swan babies, then ducklings, and then goslings. But, yes, I may or may not do that 4 to 7 times a week. I'm a huge animal lover. Dogs are better than cats. Cats suck. Sorry if you have cats, but I'm sure your cat is cool.
That was one of the most peculiar lies I've ever heard. You're going to stop at the park on the way home so you can visit your favorite swan couple, Mr. Plumph and Mrs. Plumfett, because they just had babies a couple weeks ago, and they recognize you and get excited and start squeaking when you come by, like you're part of the family, part of the crew, part of the ship. What universe? What the... That's not even something Dr. Seuss would write as like a little goofy side plot in a story. That is the biggest lie I've ever heard, for no reason, for no reason. The quirkiness is overloading. Like the cup runneth over on quirk. Wow.
And yeah, take the compliment. Anyway, apologies if this totally intruded on your day opposite of my intention. And yeah, your bio was awesome. I mean, there's a couple other assets I noticed too, but I cannot mention them without sounding like a, so I'm just going to leave it alone. I'm sure you've worked very hard to be in the shape you're in, but goddamn, lady. God damn, I would not kick you out of bed for eating crackers. So I figured if you are half as funny as you seem to be and half as cool as I got from that bio, I would say howdy. Yeah, all right. Hope this made you laugh and smile, and you have a fantastical day, Kelsey. Cheers.
And that's the grand finale of this whole situation, and what a journey it was. I find this to be probably the best example of the worst approach to romance imaginable. And like I said, this was not an isolated incident. He's done this before. And he's even used the same lines before. Which is it's so wild. It's so wild. I had to talk about it. I had to. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. Santa Claus came early with the cringe. His little helpers were cooking up something fierce, and, well, it got gifted under my tree a bit early today, and I wanted to share it with all of you. It's definitely different than the normal things we've been covering when it comes to this romantic rabbit hole of tragedy. The worst text messages, the worst flirting, the worst dates. This one is different from all the others I've covered, actually. So, cozy on up with your favorite Christmas sweater, get under the mistletoe, and get ready to kiss your sanity goodbye, because this one is a real head-scratcher. For the first time in this goofy little series history, we're getting the perspective of a man talking to a woman here. Usually it's the other way around, where a woman has a really creepy encounter with a man and things go cattywampus, shit pops off, tits up, it's all over the place, it's a catastrophe. This time, we're going Freaky Friday mode, we're switching bodies here, so we're on the perspective of a man who has just matched with a woman from Tinder. They've been talking for a little while and it leads to this. I'm jealous, I want ribeye. I'm assuming they were talking about ribeye. I'm quite the detective, I know. I just have a hunch that that's what the conversation was about. She then continues, lol, I'm glad you liked that. To which he says, I would happily cook for you. What's your favorite food? Oh, you will? I love baking, so maybe I'll bake you a cake or some bread, lol. I love steak, rare or medium rare. I love that idea. When can we make this happen? What a great start. I dare say these two are soulmates. This is wholesome, the exchange is going super well. Looks like they're about to set up a date to cook together or bake together. How could it possibly go awry? The good vibes continue. I'm not sure. You haven't asked me on a proper date yet. To which he says, what are you up to tomorrow evening? This is already looking like something out of a Hallmark movie. This is super efficient, super, great all around. She says, I'm pretty sure my family is stopping by because my sister's in town, but I'm not completely sure. What about you? I see. I've got nothing tomorrow evening. I'd like to schedule said date with you, but I also need to maneuver around holiday busyness. Do you have availability 12/26? And she says, I'm off all next week. The 26th would be perfect, with 2 blushing, smiling emojis. And I'm just sitting here, smiling, blushing, reading this story. Got me cheesing, it's so happy and wholesome. I also find it cute that in order to schedule the date, he conducted it like it was some kind of business meeting, penciling her in and locking it down. And the whole thing is just adorable. So how could it possibly end up in the shitter? What went wrong? Well, let's take a peek. Beautiful. It's a date. Would you be comfortable coming to my loft in blank and we can cook? I have a cat here too. She's lovely. To which she responds, no, I'm sorry. I don't do apartment dates for first dates. That literally made me so disappointed that you said that as a suggestion. I'm going to cut this loose. I hope you have a good Christmas and good New Year. Wish you the best. To which he says, all good. That's a totally understandable position from the woman here. Not going to a stranger's apartment for the first date is probably the safest decision you can make, so there's nothing wrong with setting a hard line in the sand like, hey, I don't really go to people's apartments for the first time meeting them. That kind of decision probably keeps you alive. You might end up at a serial killer's place. You go over there for medium rare steak, and you end up the steak. Turns out your Tinder date is Armin Meaves or something from Cannibal Cafe. So there's nothing wrong with her not wanting to go there for the first date. But she immediately jumps to being like, all right, we're done here. I'm so disappointed you even suggested it. Even though they were talking about cooking and baking together. It's not like he just pulled this out of his ass like a nefarious plot where he was rubbing his hands together and came up with this scheme. They were talking about cooking and baking together. How are you supposed to do that together outside of a household or an apartment or something. There's really no way to do that, so it should be pretty obvious why he suggested it. And he wasn't pressuring her into it. He even said, if you're comfortable, here's an option I think would be fun, since we've been talking about cooking and baking. He wasn't like poking her or trying to bribe her into coming over there and set a trap or anything. He was just putting the offer out there. So I feel like a less aggressive response from her would have been something more along the lines of, hey, politely, I'd like to decline that. Don't feel comfortable going to your place for our first time meeting. And according to the comment section, he planned on offering an alternative because he understood why she wouldn't want to do that. But then things really start to pop off before he had the chance. So he says, I hope you have a great Christmas as well. To which she responds, Jdi du perdele zatratse. I'm 100% sure I butchered the pronunciation on that, but I popped it in a Google Translate here, and it translates to go to hell, get lost. And I decided to investigate further, damn near having to revive Babelfish to try and get like another translation, because that just sounded so incomprehensibly mean after all of this. But the other translation that I keep seeing for it is basically you, which just doesn't make any sense to me, because the guy was just following the conversation they were having. They were both saying like, yeah, let's cook together. And then she even suggested baking, like, yeah, let's bake together. So he's like, all right, bet, let's do it. Let's cook and bake together. And then she just goes, you scumbag, get lost. So he tries to like explain himself. He goes, for the record, it just seemed like a logical next step in the conversation because we were talking about cooking together. Sorry to offend or disappoint you, ma'am. And she just goes, go for yourself, dude. This time, plain English. So that one I understood. And then he just says, very weird response in my opinion. And then she unleashes the demon here. She lets Hulkmania run wild. You know exactly why you invited me to your loft, and it wasn't for cooking. Don't text me ever again, blocked. And then he just goes, we met on Tinder, remember? Wish you the best in getting a date. I'll be warning all 30,000 women in blank about you. Now you're blocked. And he's just like, well, actually, wiggling his finger, blank has a population of 6.47 million, about half of which would be women. Warning 30,000 people about anything is an extremely tall order. You don't even get 30,000 people that heed hurricane warnings in Florida. If she's somehow able to send up the bat signal here to warn all 30,000 women in that immediate area about this guy, hats off to her. That's an incredible achievement, and she should use that power for good instead of evil. This guy didn't do anything wrong. He's clearly starting to take the piss here a little bit and just play around with it with that population remark. But I almost don't blame him, because this is such an unbelievably hostile response to something that wasn't ever really meant in a disrespectful way, at least not from what I can see. She just immediately jumped to the conclusion that this guy is only looking to have sex with her. He's not actually inviting her over to cook. He is inviting her over to his place just for some coitus. There would be no steak being prepared. The only thing being steamed in that apartment would be ham. Steamed ham. I'm referring to them like that's such a stupid way of saying it. Mashing pissers, whatever have you. So she just believed that this guy was some huge asshole and was only using cooking as some kind of Trojan horse to get her over, but his true intentions were for a little bedroom rodeo action and nothing more. When really, to me, it really seems like they were talking about cooking and baking together. They were both on the same page. So when the idea of a date came up, which she proposed, the logical conclusion you draw is, hey, we've been talking about cooking and baking together, let's do that for our date. Like, it doesn't really seem like there was any kind of malicious intent behind it, and he never really had a chance to offer an alternative because she immediately just shut the whole thing down, which she has every right to do. There's nothing wrong with that, but it does seem like he wasn't trying to just be some douchebag or whatever. Like, it seemed like he was just offering a date that they had been talking about as a mutual interest. I'm sure he probably would have offered an alternative since she wasn't comfortable coming over to his place. He continues to just get a little sarcastic about things. He goes, please warn them about how a guy from Tinder invited you over to cook the day after Christmas. To which she says, dude, I'm in multiple groups totaling over 500,000. With your face, LMAO, you won't be getting no play unless you pay. Good riddance, roach. Honestly starting to sound like the Navy SEALs copy pasta. I've got over 500 confirmed blocks, and I will have your face plastered in the papers for 500,000 people to see. I'm part of every goddamn Facebook group on the East Coast, and they'll all know your name, villain. He just says, lol, roach. She continues, and I will! 2 exclamation points. It's like she's giving like a big speech in front of an auditorium. I'll let them know you tried to invite me to your pathetic ass apartment for an easy lay masquerade as a cooking date. Yeah, we aren't stupid. Even your hairline ran from you. Now sit back and enjoy being alone. And he just goes, I hope you find peace and love. Yeah, I mean, what else can you do except pray for happiness for her? Like, this went south so quick out of nowhere, and I don't think it needed to. They could have just said, like, not comfortable, are you open to anything else? And if he tried to be pushy about it, like, no, you have to come to my apartment, then all of this is a totally reasonable thing to say. Like, no, you clearly just want to get out of here, get lost, scram, Buster, hit the road, take a hike. But she didn't even get that far. She immediately just jumped to this assumption that this guy is a piece of shit and he needs to go to hell and get lost. And now apparently she's going around putting up wanted posters like it's One Piece with a 5 billion berry bounty on this guy's head, all because he had the gall to invite her over for a cooking date that both of them were discussing together. I just don't really know how she'd even frame this as a bad guy to her 500,000 person group that she's a part of. I don't even know what group that would be. That's like a wildly large group to be a part of, and I can't imagine she has like a power position there where she can put out an APB on this guy or something. But even still, I don't really know how you could even spin this guy as a horrible person. But yeah, anyway, just wanted to cover this one. This one's different from the norm that we usually go over here, so that's really about it. So yeah, I know many of you read the title and assume that this is clickbait or exaggeratory, but it's not. You may not believe me yet. Wait until I show you the evidence, the proof. This is the most unhinged individual we've looked at yet. He's equal parts frightening and fascinating, tiptoeing on the fine line between intrigue and how are they not locked in Arkham Asylum. It's a mystery here. He's like the product of a science experiment gone wrong, like if Professor Utonium added chemical cringe to the concoction instead of chemical X and then created this weirdo. Since I've been down this rabbit hole, this bender of consuming awful romantic texts and bad dating stories and bad dating videos and all of that, this guy is now at the top of the tier list for the weirdest. Like all great fairy tales, it begins over Facebook memes. So he says, did you block me on Facebook? To which she responds, nah, my profile got deleted, maybe, I don't know, lol, long story. Then he goes, you don't have to lie. I can just feel the sadness emanating from that line there. I can imagine him looking down and kicking his feet in some sand. And she goes, I'm not. You can ask pretty much anyone. The profile is gone. To which he responds, I'm not going to waste my time finding out you're lying to me. So now you're going to ignore me. This is, I'm assuming, a lot of time passing between those two texts. And by a lot of time, I mean probably like 5 minutes because this guy's delusional. So he double texts her like, oh, so now you're ignoring me? Now that I've called you out on lying about this? She responds by saying, it's not like that, it's just I don't like being called the liar. He then claims, I didn't call you a liar, I just wanted to know what was going on. And then she says, I told you and you said I lied, dude. I don't even know why he's trying to pretend that he didn't call her a liar. He can literally look 2 text messages back and see that he point blank blatantly does call her a liar, basically. He's already off his gourd right now. He's fuming because this account that he follows posts memes that he likes, and now he doesn't get access to those memes, and he's throwing a temper tantrum. But really, at the end of the day, it's not so much the memes. He wanted to try and shoot his shot here with the individual who runs the account. He then tries a new angle by going for pity. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. Just been going through shit. That sucks about your Facebook. And then he's able to almost cobble together a normal human interaction here. She goes, shit happens, it's cool. Just been in my head and your memes brighten my day. I got weird because I didn't do anything wrong for you to block me like that. My memes actually got me banned. This reminds me of like the potion seller video on YouTube a while back. You can't handle my strongest potions, traveler. But in this case, it's memes for Facebook. And he just goes, for real? That's crazy. You post them all the time though. It must be something up, haha. Well, if you made another Facebook, you better add me first. I'll be waiting, JK. To which she just tries to close it out by saying, lol, yeah. Next chapter in this cringe anime is him trying to pull out the Riz here, trying to showcase his game. So what are you doing, dork? Haha, causing more trouble for Zuck? He's going for like the playful insults kind of thing, like, oh, you dork, you dweeb geek, what are you up to, huh? And she just goes, nothing, just hanging out. That's so cool! I love that with the exclamation point. He's like, whoa, badass. I bet you're kicking ass in Animal Crossing, huh? Is it that fun? It looks too much for kids. It must be since you keep ghosting me. Do you play any real games? To which she's baffled, saying, how is that not a real game? So again, a certain amount of time elapses between his first message with the, that's so cool, NPC dialogue, and then him going, oh, it must be so good you're ghosting me. So this guy's flipping emotions back and forth rapidly. His brain is all over the place. His noodle is scrambled. And then he tries to like make an argument out of this, successfully making an argument out of this, by the way, by calling Animal Crossing not a real game. So he tries to get like this sort of elitism about him when it comes to gaming. So I'm assuming he came straight from Reddit and was just ready to get argumentative about like what a real game is, and Animal Crossing doesn't fit the criteria. Yo, you serious? Laughing emoji. It's dumbass animals or some shit being your friends. No real gaming, you know that. Oh, it hurts me to even just read that. And then she goes, well, what's a real game then? You don't have to get an attitude, I'm just making fun, dork. Oh, why are you getting offended? I'm just insulting what you're playing. Like, what are you getting all bent out of shape over? Oh, come on, calm down. What, are you on your period or something? Well, why don't you ask one of your dumbass animal friends to help you with it or something? Like, dork? Oh, it's so painful reading this guy's text, and it only gets worse. It gets even more outrageous. But he's so aggressive with everything. It's like he treats a text conversation like it's an active war zone. Rocket League is a way better game than that, but I guess that's not cute enough for you. Yeah, not enough sunshine and rainbows for you girly girls. This is a real man's Battlefield. And speaking of Battlefield, game like Battlefield, Cyberpunk, Far Cry, shit, Madden, that's a sport. And men like me play sports. I could help you play them. What a generous offer from this guy. Wow, tell me you're a basic white guy without telling me you're a basic white guy. You got jokes. Double laughing crying emoji. All that is casual shit. Pick up a real game, get on my level. I really appreciate that now she's just making fun of him directly to his face. I have no doubt she was laughing while writing all this shit just to string him along and continue to watch him embarrass himself like the clown he is. What the f*** are you talking about? I'm playing around, dork! Every game I play is so much more hardcore than what you just said. Witcher, Shin Megami Tensei, Fable even. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back. She started to insult his gaming choice, insinuating he's not playing real games and she's more hardcore. And he does not take kindly to that. Now he gets exceptionally whiny. Why are you being such a bitch? I'm literally trying to have a convo, that's it. And oh brother, it's the worst conversation ever attempted. I feel like I should have blocked you even if I did have Facebook. You're insulting my game choices. Which is all he's been doing is just insulting what she plays. I don't know why he thinks it's just some like normal conversation. And he keeps calling her a dork like it's straight out of Ed, Edd n Eddy or something. I don't know what he was expecting. Because they're weak AF and you're being a cunt over nothing. Whatever. She really hasn't even been even close to mean. Not an iota of malice from her here. All she did was like defend her game choices and then joke about what he's playing being casual. Which it is. Rocket League, Madden, Battlefield. Like, what are you talking about? It's not like you're some kind of hardcore gamer playing some niche shit. You're playing the most mainstream games ever. Like, it's so silly. I don't know why he thinks that she's some supervillain that's just been doing nothing but belittling him. He started it, and she's not even doing anything mean. Does your mom know you talk to women like this? My mom won't around. Why, TF, you bringing that up? That checks out. You have zero respect for me or anyone. You're just a fat bitch who does nothing and leads people on. You're nothing. I was being nice. If this is him being nice, I am so curious to see what him being mean looks like. He immediately just breaks down into his soiled diaper meltdown. You're a fat bitch! And he keeps using the wrong "you're." He never even accidentally gets the correct form of "you're" in any of his statements here, which grinds my ass a little bit. But then he's like, you just lead people on. What? How? How did she lead you on? By responding to you? Granted, this is probably the first woman that has ever responded to a text message from this guy, so maybe that's, like, where things got misconstrued. He thought that since she responded to his initial message, she must be interested. This is so baffling, it's making my voice crack. My vocal folds are freaking out, because it's so odd that someone could have a rotted brain like this. No wonder you can't get a boyfriend, bitch. I don't settle for trash like your baby moms. You called me a liar, shit on my games, play even more trash games. At least they gettin' dick, unlike your fugly ass. You have no idea what you do. What does that mean? You have no idea what you do? I don't even understand what that statement's supposed to mean. Bet you have herpes, you fat piece of shit. How many kids do you have custody of again, lol? How many of your boyfriends died? Which, I'm guessing these two must know each other through Facebook mutuals or something, so he must see like some of the stuff that she posts, because that sounds legitimately extremely personal. And if that is a real situation that one of her partners died, that is one of the most vile things you can say to somebody, and this guy is an irredeemable, insufferable piece of shit. Wow, so this is what you do to get girls? Insult them? Again, I was playing, but you had to be a cunt. What do you mean you were playing? Your whole thing was just being aggressive from the start by just constantly spamming the word dork while insulting her playing Animal Crossing. She then continues to just take the piss, so she goes, okay, I'm sorry, I've been going through shit too. How are you at Rocket League anyway? And then immediately he just simmers down, he's back to like good boy status. I understand, I'm sorry too. Going caveman mode. I'm pretty good, I can show how to level up. What's your ranking? Platinum. So you're mediocre at best. I'm Plat 2 and Diamond 2. And I'm trash. In Rocket League, Plat isn't very high. That's where the majority of players end up. So he's not good. He's not good at all. What's your gamer tag? Why? So it also seems like he's lying about this, because no sensible person would brag about being Plat in Rocket League. So she's starting to catch him on a bluff where he's puffing out his chest and just lying about his Rocket League rank, which is even more pathetic. I want to see for myself. What console? What's the matter? You don't have an Xbox. I play on Switch. It's on all consoles. So he's starting to sweat a little bit, like he's pressed against the wall. My gamer tag? Why? Why do you want to know that? He tries desperately to turn this around into a situation where they can see each other, which sounds like it'd be downright dangerous to be around this guy. Why don't we hang and I can show you? What's your tag? I got trust issues. It's not that big of a deal. I mean, yeah, what is your gamer tag? It shouldn't be an issue, right? You're Plat in Rocket League. You're a big guy, a big man. What's the gamer tag? What do you mean you got trust issues? Again, ignoring that. I'm just curious. It seems like you're lying. I'm not. And then she drops a meme. It smells like bitch in here. Which is just genuinely a normal, silly meme. It's not even like mean. If anything, it's clearly meant to be like a joke. And for some reason, this sets him off in the biggest way yet. A atomic bomb in his brain here. And he unleashes the Godzilla heat breath. Cunt. You fat piece of shit. You have no idea who you mess with. Go die. Everyone at Dress hates you and thinks you're a slut. I thought differently, wanted to give you a chance. I thought you were a nice girl and want to be your friend. I'm sure this was the best way you can do it. By the way, I have a fresh meme. Taking care of my kids, lying to women about my Rocket League rank. So she's just dropping some memes on him at this point here, just adding insult to injury. To which he responds, just kill yourself already. He's trapped in 2009 Xbox Live gamer zone. He's really struggling here, treading water. I can hear the tears in his eyes right now. Literally feel them through his sad texting. Forever hard-stuck Plat in Rocket League, and forever hard-stuck being alone in life with an attitude like this. What an absolute curse. He just continues speaking like an anime villain. With me, you slut. Wait, can I not get dick, or am I a slut? Pointing out a contradiction because he keeps calling her a slut and then also saying that she can't get any wiener. So he's all over the place. He's scrambled. Yeah, I'd bet you'd want it after this, you whore. Choke on a dick, whale. Just continues having a conniption. Can't believe I wanted to build something with someone so dumb and nasty. And then again, she just responds with another meme. Like, what do you mean you wanted to build something with her? You reached out about feeling like you'd been blocked and immediately started calling her a liar. What world are you living in? What fantasy land? What? You immediately start by calling her a liar and then insulting her choice of games and talking about how you're like a real alpha gamer, not like an Animal Cross gamer like she is. It's fascinating. This is what I mean. Like, it's actually intriguing how someone's mind could end up so poisoned. Like, it is hard for me to comprehend it. Like, I don't get it. He is so all over the place. Like, he starts by getting really mean and aggressive, insulting her games and all of that, then gets really personal, and then she's able to de-aggro him by talking about his Rocket League rank, which it calms him down, feeds him a warm bottle of milk. And then the second she drops a meme making a joke, again, he explodes once more. It's just so peculiar. Anyway, though, here's the finale. Everyone knows you're a slut. A little fat slut who uses people. Again, this comes out of nowhere. She didn't use you. She didn't lead you on. She didn't do anything besides just respond to your initial unhinged messages. Couldn't get a boyfriend for years. That's because it keeps going. Got too much time in your hands, but I bet your mouth is filled with someone's nasty dick. And she just goes, yep, not yours. That's the end of their exchange. I imagine she probably blocked him again, which is the safe thing to do. What a creepy lunatic. An actual unsafe to be around individual. Like, this all happened over nothing. Actually nothing. Started because of not having access to some memes that he liked. Oh, painful. I had to share this one. I think this is now at the top of the food chain when it comes to like creepy people through, romantic texts that I've been diving through. This one is a rough one. So yeah, that's really about it. See ya.